Hello students, welcome back to our next chapter, that is pressure. Here in this module we would be learning more about pressure. Well, in the last module we completed about force. Here we would be starting a new factor that is correlated to our chapter, that is pressure.
Pressure is the force applied perpendicular to the surface of an object per unit area over which that force is distributed. Gauge pressure is the pressure relative to the ambient pressure. Various units are used to express pressure. Some of these derive from a unit of force divided by a unit of area. The SI unit of pressure, the Pascal, for example, is 1 Newton per square meter. Similarly, the pound force per square inch is the traditional unit of pressure in the imperial and US customary systems. Pressure may also be expressed in terms of standard atmospheric pressure. The atmosphere is equal to this pressure, and the torr is defined as 1/760th of
Well,
this.
that was interesting to know about pressure through this animated video. But let me explain you more so that we can understand what are the factors on which the pressure depends. Well, you all must have seen your parents wearing shoes and your mother wearing heels, where there are two different surface of area on which a particular force is acting. The foot of the father, where he has wore shoes, has a more surface area in regards to your mother who is wearing a heel. So heels contains a very pointed surface area and its pressure increases. So let us come to know more about pressure and its variation on the factors. So children, pressure depends on two factors, that is force. More force, more is the pressure. Force is also said to be as an alternate of thrust. And the second point is area. More area and the pressure decreases. Less area, the pressure increases, as we saw in terms of shoes that your parents wear. In terms of father, the area decreases, whereas in the pressure increases because your father's wears shoes which has a flat and a broader surface area, whereas your mother wears heel that is having a small pointed surface area. Well students, this was all about the basics of pressure. Now come let us understand how pressure can be exerted by the fluids. Fluids can be in terms of a liquid or a gas. Let's see through this upcoming video.
A wooden block kept on a table exerts a force on it, and we know that the wooden block is a solid substance. What about liquids? We know that liquids are kept in containers. Do liquids or fluids exert pressure? Yes, they do. They exert pressure on the base and the walls of the container in which they are enclosed. The pressure on the base will be downwards, and on the walls the pressure will be sidewards. We can also derive something interesting if we look at the fluid in terms of layers. Say there's water kept in a plastic container. Let's divide the fluid into 5 equal parts. You can see that the second layer of water is holding the weight of the first layer. Similarly, the third layer is holding the weight of the first as well as the second layer. And the fourth layer is holding the weight of the top 3 layers, and so on and so forth. So clearly, the pressure at the bottommost layer is the maximum. There's even a way you can find this out. Near the topmost layer, make a little hole at the side. You'll see that the water flows out from that hole like this. It doesn't roll along the walls, it flows out at an angle. Now let's make a second hole near the layer under it. You'll see that the water flows out at a wider angle as compared to the earlier case. We continue to make holes in the wall, and we'll notice that the water literally squirts out. This proves that the pressure at the bottom is much more than the pressure at the topmost layer.
Well students, that was really an interesting and indeed a very nice video to understand how pressure works in fluid. Well, this was all about that the pressure was exerted towards the downwards area. What about the pressure that is exerted in the fluid in the upwards area? Well students, you might have gone through bathing. Every day we take bath in our bathroom. There, usually when we are kids or our small or younger brother and sister, when they use their tumblers during bathing, they usually drown the tumbler into the container and suddenly they release their pressure from the tumbler. Now you would notice that the tumbler from the container full of water will come up to the surface of the water all of a sudden. And what is the reason for that? Yes, you guessed it right. Well, it is all because of the pressure exerted towards the upward direction, and that pressure is said to be thrust. So students, this is all about pressure in this video. With the more information on pressure, we would be meeting again in our next upcoming videos. Till then, take care and stay safe.